Welcome to Let's Talk About It, the podcast, where we shine a light on the change agents and everyday heroes who shape our communities. Here, we dive deep into the lived experiences of our guests, exploring the milestone moments that have either propelled them forward or changed their paths. We anchor every conversation in two foundational pillars of the Black community: books and music. Through this unique lens, we capture, entertain, and inform, weaving a rich tapestry of stories and insights that resonate, inspire, and spark meaningful dialogue. Join our host, TJ Lowery and Shatema Gresham, as they engage with thought leaders and community change agents to uncover the rich tapestry of experiences that shape our lives. Get ready for insightful discussions, unfiltered perspectives, and the celebration of Black excellence. Let's talk about it.
Hey everyone, welcome to Let's Talk About It, the podcast. I'm your girl TJ here, and I'm so excited to dive into today's show. We're bringing you one of the prominent HR professionals in the Valley, and we're so excited to catch up with them. Before we do that, I need to introduce my prominent host, Shatema. How you doing? Let's talk about it, girl.
Hey there, how's it going?
It's going. It's going. You've been hanging in there?
I've been hanging in there. What about you?
Pretty good, pretty good. Tell me how PTMG is doing during this time, and what are some of your clients looking like?
Yeah, so we're doing really well. The company's thriving. So Procure Talent Management Group is an HR consulting firm that specializes in talent management. So it essentially is just the strategy of how you attract, hire, develop, and retain your talent, your human capital. The market is marketing, so we definitely have felt the impact of that,
Sure.
but we are thriving. Our client base is, really diverse. So we have a few, recruitment is always, it's always going to be the bread and butter, direct placement,
Yes.
temporary support, and things like that. So really just working on our global talent. So have a new strategy in place to be a provider of global talent. So I'm excited about that.
Good.
But just
your reach.
Yeah, for sure. There's still, a lot of companies are going overseas, but there's also talent that wants to come here.
Okay.
And so having some of that duality of offering resources for that has been really good.
Yeah. Now, I feel like you have a really cool or inspiring origin story for PTMG, also born out of the pandemic. How did that come about?
Had a really bad day at work. So had a really bad day at work one Friday. And was just really frustrated. HR sometimes is a thankless job, especially when you are supporting, large entrepreneur-based companies where they don't really understand the real impact of, what HR can do for the company. And I was looking for additional headcount, but because we don't make any money, they never want to give you the headcount. And, our results were, I needed support. I needed help. What they would give me, though, was temporary support. Can't give you a head count, but you need someone for 90 days. You need somebody for 6 months. Tell me how long you need someone. I can bring someone in to help you. And so, the business was kind of built on that, of providing that support that HR professionals need in a temporary status and or permanent if needed, because I found in growing up in HR that the vendor budget is different than the headcount budget. And it's usually a little more robust. So we would, pay for third parties to come in and pay them thousands of dollars, but I couldn't get a headcount,
Yeah, part of that I see they can, take the the salary for a short period of time on the expense report, right? But they don't see the value in what the people and providing the long-term resource does to the bottom line. It's a non-tangible. So it is so hard for us as HR professionals to, make that case and explain that to them. It needs to be a short-term hit to the P&L and move on, get what you need. And so we're stretched and extended
Absolutely.
beyond what we can do, and the ask just keeps growing, right? And we need this, and this is necessary. And so when you say, well, we need a recruiter for that to be quicker, there is no expenditure for that. They're not going to invest in that. So to you, the bad day, leading to success at PTMG. And I feel like that's inspiring, even though it came out of a bad day. I feel like your story definitely has inspired me and, the team at BHRS. And so we always are proud of you, even when it's tough. So
yeah, entrepreneurship is tough in these streets, but rewarding.
Yes,
for sure.
Well,
Thank you.
let's dive into our show. And thank you for sharing that and being vulnerable with our audience. Who are you introducing us to today?
Well, I'm excited. We have an awesome guest here, Mr. Shaun Mayo. Welcome to the Let's Talk About It podcast.
Thanks for having me.
Awesome. Let me just, throw down a little bit on your background. So this is the Chief HR Officer at the Arizona Cardinals. He's also the president of BSP, which is the National Society of Black Sports Professionals. He's also a member of Alpha Phi Alpha fraternity. And just recently got awarded, as recent as a few weeks ago, the Power 50 Under 40 award for the U.S. Black Chamber. Right?
Yeah.
So he's an Arizona resident of the last 3 years by way of Arkansas, originally from Houston. Did I get that right?
That's right. You
Okay.
got it right. Yeah.
So welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. Yeah, looking forward to it.
Such a nice bio, and it's exciting, especially for us, to see a Black man here in Arizona. So ladies, they are out there, right? I know we keep hearing that, but they exist.
We
we're
exist.
Excited.
We're here.
Yes, we're excited to have you on the show, Shaun. We're going to do an icebreaker. We're HR professionals. We call this one Let's Talk About It. So we're going to ask you a question. Just give us the first question or answer that comes to mind.
All right.
Favorite hip hop artist?
Favorite hip hop artist. That's a good one. I don't know about favorite. I'll say current favorite. How about that?
I like that.
I've been playing.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've been playing a lot of Drake lately.
Okay.
What's been in the speakers a little bit. Yeah.
I didn't know we still listen to Drake.
Yeah. Why you think he got canceled because of Kendrick?
I mean, that's what I heard.
Okay. I still like Drake, so he's still all right with me.
All right. Favorite hip hop music video?
Ooh, that's a good one. What came to mind immediately is Big Pimpin'.
Okay.
Jay-Z and Pimp C.
Yes.
Now I'll tell the story. I don't remember the name of the song. I need to go look the song up. But when I was on the campus of TSU, so that's where I went, they actually were recording a video there with T.I. and Pimp C.
Okay.
And so if I knew the name of that one, I would put that at the top of the list because I was in the mix of
I know that's right.
But Pimp C looks like he's winning out. So yeah.
Best R&B album of all time.
I'm a big Usher fan.
Ooh,
so I'm gonna probably go Usher Confessions or something like that. That's probably where I'm gonna go with the R&B. So yeah.
Did you see him in Vegas?
I did see the Residency.
I did too.
Yeah, it was great. It was great.
I was about ready to risk it all.
Yeah.
I did. I was on stage in the beginning. I ran up. I was one of the ladies. So I had a good time.
You had a good time?
Absolutely.
I'm a big Usher fan. He's here in a few weeks.
Yeah.
So I'll be there. I think I've seen him in Essence this week.
I think he's on the new album a little more.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Residency was great though.
Yeah, it was really great. Awesome. A pop song that always gets you dancing.
A pop song that gets me dancing.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's a good one. A pop song that gets me dancing. I don't know. I would probably go Party in the USA or something like that.
Yeah,
I like that.
Yeah. That's where I'd probably go. So
Katy Perry. Katy Perry.
Yeah.
What was your first concert?
First concert. That's a good one. Ooh, let me think back now. First concert. I want to say my first concert was actually on the campus of TSU, and it was a bunch of local artists. So if people are familiar with Houston, you go Lil Kiki and Lil Flip, and that was my first that was my first concert.
TSU was popping.
Yeah. Listen.
Going on over there.
Yeah.
HBCU.
Yeah.
What about the most underrated artists in your opinion?
Underrated artists. It's a good one. There's a guy that I like named Russ. That he's a rapper, kind of singer tone. Like he puts out some good hits. That I think just haven't made it like mainstream.
Okay.
But I would go with Russ.
Well, send it to us so
All
we
right,
can
I
check
will.
Russ
I will.
out.
I
I love
will.
that. What CD is in rotation? CD.
CD.
We don't even say that right
Yeah.
now. That. But
That's a stream.
what's heavy in
what's
rotation on
in
the
rotation?
playlist? I
Oh,
think we
yeah.
call it playlist and
Yeah.
streaming heavy.
Yeah, let's see. Well, it's probably streaming heavy for me. Right now, it's actually Spotify. What's in my Spotify list right now? I've got this. I don't know. I think it's like it. I think the title of it is something like Black Up Tempo Gospel.
Oh,
Is what's going on right now. That's probably getting a lot of play.
Okay.
Aside from that, I go back to Usher, The Weeknd. Like those are
Yeah.
typically there's some
Classics,
Drake, like
yeah.
Drake's CDs and
Me
stuff
too.
are on Spotify pretty much. So
Okay.
Is that black hip hop gossip or gospel? Is it got like R&B hip hop flair in it?
it does,
or-
yeah.
Okay.
Like it's got. I mean, what was in the rotation? And it's a lot. It's a lot of. I think the artist is Hovey and like Lecrae.
Okay.
Oh, yes.
And
That's
so
what
it's
I
got
was
a lot of
wondering.
that, and
Okay.
it's got a lot of that in there. And then it's bringing out some old school, like they'll put some Kirk Franklin stomp in
Okay,
there, and it's
okay.
just upbeat,
I
like
like
gospel.
that.
So
I
that's
need that
been,
for cleaning on the
yeah.
weekends.
That's been in there a little bit. So
Okay.
yeah,
All right.
And then let me ask one more. What's your favorite genre of music?
genre music. I mean, definitely R&B. I'm gonna go
Okay.
probably R&B. Yeah,
R&B.
yeah.
So when did you first fall in love with R&B? And speak to that in terms of how you got into this career.
Ooh, gotcha. First fell in love with R&B. It probably comes back from my childhood. My mom, like I remember back in the day, talk about
Yes.
cleaning, right?
Yeah.
I remember mama throwing
Yes.
on some Isley Brothers, and it
Yeah.
was, you knew when the songs came on, okay, it's time to like,
Saturday morning.
yeah, it's like time to
Yeah.
clean up, right?
Get
And so
moving.
like I
Yeah.
think that's where like I probably say that's probably where where it came from. And then in terms of transitioning into this career, and I never set out to be an HR. Right, like
Yeah.
probably so many of
Most
us. Like
people
I don't,
don't.
yeah, like I
No,
didn't
we
go to
fall
school.
in.
Yeah,
Right.
I didn't go to school. Like I want to be this like
Right.
HR professional. But I ended up really being thrown into an HR role. I was in Houston at the time. Prior to what I do now is all retail, and so I was working at Kohl's department stores and got a random call from our district manager at the time, and said, "Hey, our HR manager slash operations, because dual job operations and HR, quit, and you're going to go be the new HR operations manager for this new building that we're opening out in League City. So go do it, and you got to go hire 200 people to open this store." And so that was my introduction into HR. Yeah,
Love that.
yeah.
Love that. So that would be the intro to your song, your
Yeah.
HR career,
Yeah,
right?
like thrown in it or something.
Yeah,
That's probably
right.
yeah.
That
We
would
don't
be
call
the
it.
intro,
Right.
Yeah.
And so now we're in the song after
Okay.
those first few bars, those first 16 bars. When did the beat drop in your
Ooh,
career?
that's a good one.
In life, this would be the moment you started to see your career really take off. So when
Yeah.
did the beat drop?
When the beat drop? I would say definitely this move I ended up making to Walmart in the sense of moving to the corporate office.
Okay.
Right. So, I talked about the Kohl's experience there. I pretty much stayed. Kohl's, went to a couple other different retailers, but we're all in the field. And I got an opportunity in 2017 to move to the corporate office in Bentonville when I was with Walmart. And I took on at that point was a project manager job that, if you've been in that space, it's like the job that, gets everything dumped on it that
Yep.
nobody else wants to do.
Generalist,
Or
right?
yeah. So
Yes.
but it was there in that job, and had an amazing boss that really supported me, started to open a lot of doors for me in terms of my career. And so I spent the next 4 or 5 years there at Walmart, pretty much changing jobs and getting promoted every 12 months
Sure.
from that point
Moving
on.
up.
And so that beat dropping was really the move to Arkansas that put me in a position that had this plethora of just other opportunities that existed. Because if I stayed in the field, like there's only one HR job in the field. Like there's nowhere else to really go. And so that's what I'd go with.
Love that.
All that exposure.
All that exposure. Yeah.
In Arkansas, probably would have never thought, oh, I want to move to Arkansas.
Never on my list.
Yes.
Yeah, it was never on my list.
Yes.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right. So we talked about the beat drop, and let's talk about the verse.
Okay.
So the verse is the part of the song that's used to advance the plot. The verse makes up the majority of the song and often tells those complex stories. What is the verse on your personal soundtrack? Share maybe the most difficult career challenges or how you navigated those.
Yeah, difficult career challenges. I give a couple, right? Going back, this is my time at Walmart. One of the most
Sure,
significant.
you saw a lot at Walmart.
I saw a lot. Walmart was really rewarding. Yeah.
Yes.
There's two things that I give there that I talk about. One, talk about that project manager job being the hodgepodge of like everything nobody else wanted to do. One of the things that I got an opportunity to take on and was voluntold that I was going to do is go be a part of this emergency operations center. And this emergency operations center is pretty much spun up at Walmart anytime that something disrupts the natural flow of business. So think of all the hurricanes and things that are happening on the East Coast. We would get activated to figure out what does that mean for our stores. I was responsible for the people function. And so that was really how do we account for our people and take care of our people that are in that area happening there. So I got thrown over there. And when I did that, I did not want to go and do it. I told you I was voluntold. And the very first year I was there, I spent like 57 days straight working in the EOC. So not doing my normal job, doing this extra job. Taking care of our employees, which was really important, but it really allowed me to build relationships across the entire Walmart enterprise. Right. So that was one. And then that was more relationship building. It was hard work. It was challenging. But the relationships, the connections I made out of that paid dividends for sure over the course of my career. And then the one that was probably the most challenging for me, was I ended up taking on a job after that project manager job to be a director of people modernization. That job was focused on a tech overhaul to bring in a new HRIS system.
Fun.
And so, right. I know, right? Those were always fun. And so we had decided that we were going to bring in Workday into Walmart. Into Walmart. On top of, so Workday was coming in to take the place of a homegrown system. And so
even more fun.
All
that proprietary information that somebody thought was great.
And so that job, it was the most challenging for sure, but I can look back on it and also say it was the most rewarding. But when you talk about, CEOs and everybody at your desk and on the phone trying to figure out what's going on, because we got all kind of downstream issues.
And to spend.
So that was definitely the most challenging piece of the career. And then I go, if I go a third one, I know you only asked for one, but like I just go to all the disappointment too that's happened related to jobs, because not everybody, sees where I am today and they're like, oh, that's great. Like, but there's so much. There's so much disappointment along the way of jobs that I didn't necessarily get that I thought I was supposed to get, and things of that nature. So many no's, right, before I got to a yes. And so I go back to those being challenging moments too, when you feel like you're ready for the next opportunity, and it doesn't materialize the way you want it to materialize. So
I think you said a lot right there, because especially in HR, there are a lot of no's. There's a lot of, it's hostile. Because sometimes when they're downsizing, it's the first group, that doesn't produce any money. So they're looking to say, oh, well, the hiring manager can interview. We don't need a recruiter. Or, this person's been running this department forever, so they can be the business partner, and they start to move through there. But even navigating externally, trying to get in that department is really hard because it's already tight as far as bandwidth and head counts and all that good stuff.
Those no's are challenging, but I do believe they build, those
Absolutely.
resilience and all those things we need, that character that we now have. It certainly can build that imposter syndrome when we do get something that we know we're supposed to have, because, well, why did they reject me? You go through that process, but you've got to go back and refine yourself and remember your value so that you can get back to the next next thing and keep
Mhm.
functioning. So I do feel like as hard as they are, we need those no's to get back grounded and humble. And we all have had it. We've
Ugh,
all
We've
had
had it. Yeah.
yes.
the rejection, the,
Yeah.
I
Mhm.
knew that job was
Oh
for
yeah.
Yeah.
me. And then when you think back to it, it's like, wow, coulda, shoulda, woulda.
Yeah.
And so we can be grateful for where we
Yeah.
end
No,
up.
absolutely. Yeah. I always take an approach of like, hey, like if that didn't happen, it wasn't for me.
For me.
Yes.
Right.
Mhm.
Like there's a
Yeah.
reason why that didn't happen.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. And
Yep.
so
Yep.
I'm gonna
And
keep
Yep.
usually you
moving.
find that reason
Yes.
later,
Yeah.
That's
right?
right.
Like
Yeah.
That's
they
right.
they downsize or
Yeah.
something
Oh yeah.
happens and you're
Yeah.
like, "Oh God, appreciate that."
Yeah,
Yeah.
or you get greater, you
Mhm.
get something greater.
Yeah.
I've
Mhm.
certainly had that happen where the doors
Oh
closed,
yeah.
but then when the one opens, I'm like, I'd rather have this anyway,
Oh yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But you just
Mhm.
don't know that because you are in that
You're in that
moment. But
moment.
you got to process it and go
Mhm.
through it, and you get stronger and better. So I want to talk about the chorus. They say it's the heart of the song.
Mhm.
And so it captures the main message and emotional essence. It's the part most listeners remember and sing along to. So, what has been the core message for you, Shaun, in your career
Mm.
and also in your personal life?
Yeah, that's good. That's good. I think there's a couple things that I think I show up as consistently, regardless of what we're talking about, work or personal, right? I think people have I've become known really as really a person that gets shit done, right?
Mhm.
Whether we're talking personally or professionally,
Mhm.
right? I've become and when I talk about that, like people know like that I'm associated with, like they can call me no matter the day, the hour, the time, and
Yeah.
like if something needs to get done at that time, like I'm gonna make sure that it
Mhm.
happens and it gets done, right? I've also, become known for what I tell folks is like making the complex simple,
Mhm.
Love that.
right?
Yes.
And so I think that has paid like really good, dividends for
Yeah.
me
I like that.
over time. And then I always talk about relationships, right? Like
Yeah.
I've been, I hope that people would say this too, but like I've become a really great person at hopefully building what I would call mutually beneficial relationships. And so I'm never
Sure.
really after really anything, for my own self, right? Like
Yeah.
Mhm.
there's no real self interest
Love that.
Mhm.
in anything that I'm trying to do. Like, do I want to be successful and do I want to grow? Like, absolutely. But I'm not ever taking calculated things to make that
Right.
Yeah.
happen, right?
Right.
Like
Right.
I'm just out trying to do good,
I
right?
know that's right.
And so that's what I would
That's
say hopefully
good.
would show up in that
That's good.
course around things that kind of thread the needle of personal and professional.
I like
Yeah.
that.
Me
I like making
too.
the complex simple. That's
Mm-hmm.
a book.
Mm-hmm. And it's a way to sell any product, you know what I
Mhm.
mean? Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
what is the goal? You make it simple. What resonates for me is the character piece,
Mhm.
right? And also the reciprocity. I want to make sure I'm giving to other
Mhm.
people. It's so much more rewarding for me to support and help people than to need something, to,
Yeah.
Mhm.
expect something back. And that really is just our core character. And so
Mhm.
I feel like people who are intentional about ensuring our character is in check, we'll get those rewards. We'll
Yeah.
For
get
sure.
blessed. And that's not what we need to chase. We
Yeah.
just need to chase remaining a good person and
Mm.
character. So I
Mhm.
Mhm.
love that. I
Yeah.
love that.
All right. We're to the bridge.
Okay.
Bring in the
All
bridge.
right.
The bridge helps breaks up the repetitiveness of the song. It adds an element of surprise generally and often presents a new angle to the main idea. What is your bridge or the thing that shakes you up just a little bit?
Shakes me up a little bit. That's really good. There's a lot of things. I don't know. Like when you said that, I immediately like went to pet peeves. Like I don't know why, but there's I don't like excuses,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
Again, I get that there's reasons why things happen, but I also think like I take an approach of like if it's within my control, I'm going to control it, right? I'm going to
Mhm.
change that outcome. If it's not, I'm not going to worry about it. I'm
Mhm.
gonna let it roll down,
Yeah.
my back and leave it alone. And so like excuses tend to shake me up, right?
Mhm.
I think about There's other things too, like tardiness and not being prepared and like all that stuff, right? But that would be the one that probably comes to the top of mind is that one. So
I'm sure you've heard a lot of good excuses.
Oh, always.
Always.
Yeah, always.
Anything that comes to the top of your head?
We can take a whole nother session.
I know, right?
About, like,
Let's talk about it.
So,
Excuses.
listen,
right?
okay,
We're
this is
HR professionals.
here's
Right?
another
Get
one.
'em.
Okay, like here's another one. Simple, but like I didn't have time. Like that's like an excuse, right?
yes.
Like, okay, no, you didn't make time.
You
It's
didn't
not
make
about
time.
having time. You
Yes.
just had time. It
Plan
just wasn't
properly.
right. It just wasn't a
Yes.
priority
Yes.
for you. So that's a
Right.
simple
Come
one.
on.
Yeah.
But like whenever
That
someone said
CEO
I didn't
coming
have
out.
time to do it, right? Like, yeah, you just didn't make time.
That
But,
wasn't
like,
important.
yeah, it wasn't important, right? Like, let's just talk about that piece, right? like,
Love
so
it. So, what song is your go to song, Shaun, that has pushed you through some challenges, rough times, or just simply today's going to be a day? It's going to be war.
Ooh,
What are you
that's a
putting
good
on?
question. That's a good one. I don't know about today, but I'll talk a little bit about this. Right, I lost my mom when I was 20. Grandparent, my grandmother when I was 18, and both of those folks pretty much raised me in the song that I remember during that time. That really helped. Was actually Yolanda Adams' "Be Blessed."
Oh, be blessed.
Mm,
Love me some Yolanda.
I do.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
that's
yeah, yeah,
good.
yeah.
That's good.
So that's the song that immediately came to mind. Like
That's
today, I
good.
can't say I got a song that I like
Mhm.
put on and like play. I'll listen to a lot of different things
Yeah,
today. So
definitely depends on the energy and the mood.
yeah,
Sometimes you got to turn up.
sometimes you
I'm
gotta turn
telling
up.
you.
Yeah,
Glorilla.
Oh, go- oh, see,
Yes.
see,
Right.
yeah. I made the mistake of
telling
buying a karaoke machine this weekend.
Oh,
So
nice.
We'll
yeah,
come over.
yeah. Okay, we're gonna have a little get together.
Yeah,
And
you're
so
Maricopa. You are
yeah,
mentioned
yeah,
Maricopa. Okay,
yeah,
yeah, I'll
yeah.
make the hike.
Okay, you'll
I'll
make
come
that
over.
hike. Yeah,
I'll
okay.
come
All
over
right.
for some karaoke. That sounds fun.
So albums, or full soundtracks. What do you recommend for a guest to purchase if they haven't already? One that you can maybe listen to from start to finish.
A good album, listen to from start to finish. I'll give you two. All
Okay.
right, because I'm gonna give you like one side and my other side. 'Cause I tell you, I got like two sides.
Yeah,
Okay, like
we're
I'm like
multifaceted.
hood and holy.
Yeah.
Like I'll give
Right,
you
I
like
love
both of
that.
those. All right, so I'm gonna go holy first.
All right.
All right,
All
like
right.
really what I've been listening, what I really like, who I like right now, Maverick City Music.
Okay. Yeah.
They do a really really good job. So I try
Mhm.
to catch them anytime they're in town.
Mhm.
Is what I would go with on the holy side. On the hood side, I'm gonna probably go with something Houston. And it's probably gonna be like some UGK or something along those
Good
lines.
stuff.
Very Houston.
Yeah. I know. Like I love my Houston music. I mean,
Mhm.
I could even go DJ Screw. Like
Yeah.
it's like a whole
Good
lot of different
stuff.
things that I
Yeah.
could go there. Those are the sounds of my childhood that just bring back like so
Yeah.
many memories. And so those would be the two. So I cheated and I gave you two.
I love
but I
that,
wanted
though.
to give you
We're
That's
one of each.
multifaceted.
So okay,
Right.
all
We're
right.
not praying.
Okay,
And,
okay,
nothing but.
yeah,
We're-
exactly, yeah, some
Right,
crime off,
right.
yeah, like I like it,
That's
I
very
love
good.
that.
So I actually had an opportunity to attend the gala, and I was
okay,
enjoying the award ceremony for sure. There were some great prominent people, sold out quickly.
Mm.
I found myself having a great time for the after party as
glad you
well. We're
did,
talking
yeah,
about the music. I also got a chance to bounce the basketball a little
okay,
bit, so
All
that was
right.
pretty cool. But it was a great turnout. Shout out to you for putting that together. It was poised. The Carver Museum looked great. Everything
Beautiful.
was fun.
Mhm.
So I was surprised and
yeah.
very happy to be in that space. It just felt really good. It was
Yeah,
good
well,
energy.
definitely thanks for supporting. It was our first one, so we had
Mhm.
no idea how it was going to turn out, but
Turned out
very
great.
pleased with how it turned out. And it was so important for us to do it in that space.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
There's so much historical context there,
Yes.
And for us to be, an organization that's focused on Blacks in sports, it was important for us to do it there. But the support from the community and from
You
everybody,
can see it.
it blew our expectations like out of the
it.
water. So thanks for sure.
Well,
for
we're
being
proud of
there.
you and we want to keep supporting you in every way. I mean, we as in the Black community here in the Valley, and just really proud to see you doing your thing. So we'll keep doing that. We also really appreciate your time and you hanging out with Shatema and
Yeah,
I
of
today
course.
and giving us the chance to talk about it. Tell everybody where they can find you.
Yeah, so LinkedIn, Instagram, X for those that use X. But LinkedIn, just my name, Shaun Mayo, but X and IG, Shaun Mayo HR are the places you can find me. And thank you all for having me. Thanks for putting this
Very good.
together. And
Thank you.
anything I can do to support you all, I'm a resource. I want to be able to help and support wherever I can.
Good. Thank you, Shaun.
Awesome. Yeah. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. We learned a lot. Definitely going to check out some of these recommendations that you've made for
I'll send you
sure.
some.
For sure.
Please.
I think of Maverick City. They were just here, weren't they? Just here.
They were. Yeah.
I think they were just here.
Yeah.
Yeah. I definitely need a little more church in me these days to pull it together. Want to also thank Procure Talent Management Group as a sponsor to the Let's Talk About It podcast. It's an HR consulting firm located here. I am the CEO of that. TJ, you want to talk about the Black HR Society?
Absolutely. Our sponsor in hometown, the Black HR Society. We want to thank BHRS in our community. Be sure to like, follow, and subscribe everywhere you can find your podcast. Let's talk about it as well. We've got our own social site, so please make sure you follow and subscribe. And come on back next time. We are so glad to have you and can't look forward to next time. So thank you.
Thank you for tuning into Let's Talk About It, the podcast. We hope you enjoyed today's conversation and found inspiration in the stories and experiences shared. We trust that you were entertained, learned something new, and felt inspired by today's show. Be sure to subscribe, like, follow, share, and join us for the next episode. Until then, keep the conversation going and let's keep talking about it.